Government support crucial to digital transition. Gobe landowners petition government. And Dilasel order celebrates 70 years in PNG.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and welcome to Monday's news. With a deadline to make the switch from analog to digital transmission set for May 2018, broadcasters in Papua New Guinea need the support from government to ensure this target is met. Among immediate needs is a commitment from government to ensure an enabling environment for all free-to-air public broadcasters from the transition. This was among points raised during the recent Asia Broadcasting Union conference, which EMTV played host to.
EMTV recently hosted the Asia Broadcasting Union conference with a theme, Collaborating for Broadcasting. Part of this event included a panel discussion on the media perspective on the future of broadcasting. The discussion centered on the need for the industry to be supported in light of plans to switch from analog to digital terrestrial transmission.
Although it is a set guideline and it sounds good in policy, it is quite technical. There is a way to work together to come up with a more reliable and cost-effective method to see this transition through. Government, through NICTA, we would urge to seriously consider standardizing and subsidizing digital television sets and digital decoders for this process of the transition. Now, the whole reason why we are emphasizing this point is because the time taken to uptake the new digital transmission has more serious consequences for public broadcasters than the government may realize.
Mr. Choi's comments were on the back of Public Enterprise and State Investment Minister William Duma's earlier assurance of government support.
We recognize the importance of this transmission from analog to digital, and in fact, in relation to EMTV, the government through Telecom has authorized EMTV to enter into an arrangement where it can be in a position to engage a contractor who will then be able to install the transmission programs.
For NICTA, the country's telecommunication regulator, the proposed deadline for broadcasters to switch from analog to digital terrestrial transmission has now been set for May 2018. However, the reality of sticking to this deadline requires cooperation from all stakeholders, including government.
From NICTA's perspective, these are the challenges that we need to overcome. We really need the financial backing of government, and one of the issues that we really need to sort out amongst ourselves. I know there's different stakeholders involved in the transition: broadcasters, the government, regulator, even the retailers that's going to be selling the set-top boxes. All of these we need to work together.
The switch from analog to digital stands to be the biggest game changer for television broadcasting in Papua New Guinea. But it has to be done right and in the least amount of time as possible, as it will be expensive for television broadcasters to transmit on both analog and digital during the switchover period.
The social, the new media and all that sort of thing are great, but they won't exist unless if the core stays there, and the core is the terrestrial broadcast in many cases for broadcasting, and you need to protect the core.
Merabatulo, National EMTV News.
Landowners in the Gobe project of Gulf and Southern Highlands have petitioned the government over outstanding benefits. Today, the landowners expressed dissatisfaction over the delayed clan identification process, stating the government has failed this process. They say the government must now respond or see drastic measures taken within the 5 project sites of the oil and gas project.
The Gobe landowners met today in Port Moresby to express their dissatisfaction over almost 18 years of waiting for impact projects in their communities. They ended their petition 2 weeks ago but received no response from authorities.
To date, we have not got any tangible infrastructure development in the area on Gobe. The oil has now depleted.
For this landowner group who are within the 5 project sites of the oil and gas project, they say the government process has again failed the landowners through the landowner identification process.
This land that's all costing me blah, Kotigo come. You know what one reason? Because all man do grand blumina, all no identify him. Papa ground on this platform now, he prolonging him live blum ligam on today.
In the 4-page petition presented to the government, the leaders want the clan vetting process be finalized, including the ADR process, so IDG funds are dispersed for projects earmarked in the agreement signed in 1998.
You know, got 17 Sembriki, airstrip, place balus, school, housing. You know, got through. Antablo Disla, planting man may die, or leaders planting or die.
They claim an outstanding amount of 50 million kina was supposed to be paid to them. However, to date, only 5 million kina was released. The Gobe landowners have no intention to stop operations in the 5 project sites, but want the government to address their petition. Jack Lapava Jr., National, EMTV News.
The Order of the De La Salle or Salle Brothers celebrated its 70 years in Papua New Guinea over the weekend. First arriving in Papua New Guinea in 1946, the Order has expanded to establish a number of education institutes around the country. Today, the Lasallian Ministry is one of the Catholic Church's top education ministries. Celebrations were held in Port Moresby with a number of activities that concluded with a mass celebrating the work of De La Salle in PNG.
The ministry of the Lasallian Brothers first came to PNG in 1946, soon after the Second World War. They were on a mission to spread the vocation of St. John Baptist de la Salle, a Catholic saint who saw the need for underprivileged children to be educated back in the 15th century. Today, the ministry is established in almost every country around the world. Over the weekend, the De La Salle Brothers celebrated 70 years of vocation in Papua New Guinea. It started on Thursday with a formal dinner to show appreciation of what the La Salle vocation has done to many young men and women of the country.
The Archbishop of Moresby and the Brother Baptist, the Provincial, arranged to open a school in Port Moresby. The brothers wanted it at 3 Mile. But the Archbishop said, no, we've got a couple of buildings out there at Panguna and they're empty, so that's where you go. So the present De La Salle Panguna was founded in '64 because the buildings were, 2 buildings were there, the old house and the old dormitory.
On Friday, a parade march saw former and current Lasallian students marching through the streets of Port Moresby. The activities then moved to Bomana, where a fun day was hosted by former students.
I was here in 1984 to 1987. I would like to say a very big thank you to the Lasallian Brothers for giving us this education and what we've got now.
The 70 years not only shows the rich history of De La Salle in PNG, but the need for young men and women who are willing to serve in the vocation of education that started in France over 300 years ago. Stanley Over Jr., National, EMTV News.
The autonomous Bougainville government has clarified why the District Development Authority is illegal in the autonomous region. President John Momis says that the autonomous arrangements between the national and the autonomous Bougainville governments has been misunderstood. Fabian Hakalitz reports.
In Bougainville's case, President Momis says that the District Development Authority is illegal because of the autonomous arrangements. Bougainville is not a province but an autonomous region, and if the DDA is applied, it's illegal because Bougainville has its own community government law.
District Development Authority is a form of deconcentration of administrative power, which is okay, but in Bougainville we are talking about decentralization of power to make your own decisions.
Momis further explained that under the colonial regime, the districts were set manned by commissioners as agents of the national government. All they enjoyed was some form of deconcentration of administrative powers without ultimate power to make decisions on matters.
According to the principle of subsidiarity, the people of Bougainville, in respect of the powers given to them, have the right to make decisions which do not have to be the same as the National Parliament.
Early this month, during the National Parliament sitting, South Bougainville MP Timothy Masiu and Lay MP Lojaya Kosa raised matters on DDA's application in the autonomous region of Bougainville. But the Prime Minister said the funding difference in Bougainville is because of the continuous support in Bougainville.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's only fair that the three electorates in Bougainville are also given the funding that they require to bring services to their districts. It is unfair to say that they will entirely depend on ABG to provide those services to our communities in Bougainville, Mr. Speaker.
Under the DDA Act on application, the autonomous region of Bougainville and the National Capital District are not counted. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Among stories after the break, reviving the cattle industry in Maprik East Sepik Province and coffee exports increase in Morbe. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Business at the Waigani National and Supreme Court House was delayed after they received a bomb threat this morning. Police and the PNG Defence Force Explosives and Ordinances Division were called in to search and monitor the area. However, no clearance was given and the court session started while waiting for the police dog unit to arrive to clear the area.
At around 8 this morning, alarms went off at the courthouse and everyone was evacuated. The explosives unit from the PNG DF arrived at the scene and did a thorough check but found nothing. The PNG DF EOD relies mainly on sniffer dogs to locate the bombs before they can defuse it. While waiting for police dog unit to arrive, the court was in session. Only the lawyers were allowed into the courthouse. 3 hours later, EMTV called the dog squad and found out that they were not aware of the bomb threat alert. EMTV News was told that the dog unit currently has no vehicle to transport the dog to the courthouse. At 12 p.m., the courthouse was empty except for few cases that were still on. A formal statement will be issued later by the court registrar. Pasenata Yama, National EMTV News.
Robin Wilson, the mining minister in the autonomous Bougainville government, says the commercial aspect of the Panguna mine must not be discussed in isolation. He said following the civil war, issues surrounding autonomy are sensitive. Reacting to the recent arrangement by the government to offer BCO shares to landowners, the Bougainville mining minister said the Panguna mine issue is not only a concern for landowners, but a matter for all Bougainvillians.
All of them sacrificed, suffered, and died.
It's important that the national government must understand the perception in Bougainville over the Panguna mine. The aspect of protecting peace in Bougainville is vital. Therefore, such decisions made by the national government to directly transfer BCL shares to landowners will destroy peace building.
If we just discuss the commercial aspect of the mine in isolation of these considerations, then that is the recipe to creating another conflict among Bougainvillians themselves and among Bougainvillians and Papua New Guinea government.
The Bougainville Peace Agreement's outcome will be mutually accepted if there is a good collaboration between parties signatory to this agreement.
Manage their own affairs and work to realize their aspirations. That is autonomy, and that is not what we are seeing from the national government. Instead, it wants to dictate to the people of Bougainville that this is what we want you to do.
Meanwhile, President Momis says the national government must not undermine the autonomous Bougainville government.
We should not be dictating to the people of Bougainville what they should have, what they should accept. I think the peace agreement is a very good agreement. It provides the avenue. We don't have to go and reinvent the wheel again. Let's stick to the Bougainville peace agreement.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
A number of historical events will be celebrated in the autonomous region of Bougainville this week. Tomorrow, August 30th, is the International Day of the Disappeared, facilitated by the families of the missing persons and assisted by the International Committee of the Red Cross. This is the second year missing persons are remembered and will be commemorated in Buin, Arawa and Buka. Another important event commissioned by the autonomous Bougainville government is the signing of the Bougainville Peace Agreement in 2001.
And we will be celebrating that day on Tuesday, the 30th of August. So that is the ultimate achievement that that ended the war in Bougainville. So we have our government has made it has taken the important step of celebrating that special day.
The success of running rural air services in Papua New Guinea hinges on respective provincial budgets. According to Rural Airstrip Agency Chief Executive Officer John Bromley, rural airstrips don't get direct funding support from the national government. At a recent transport workshop in Kokopo, Mr. Bromley has raised concerns yet again about how difficult it is for the people to live in rural Papua New Guinea, those who see rural air services as their only means of transportation.
Over the years, the government's plans outlining how lives of rural people can be made easier through rural aviation is so far from reality on the ground. People in remote areas continue to face transport deficiencies as a daily struggle. Most of these places can only be accessed through the air mode of transport. Over the years, the support coming from the government to keep the rural air services in good shape has been so little, and that forced many colonial airstrips that were once a lifeline for landlocked regions to crumble. The Chief Executive Officer of Rural Airstrip Agency of Papua New Guinea, John Bromley, is hoping to see a change in the way rural airstrips and services are managed.
We have seen the benefit that provides in improving services in communities, and a lot of communities have lost those services over the years because the airstrips are not functioning anymore.
At a recent transport workshop in Kokopo, Mr. Bromley has raised concerns yet again about how difficult it is for the people to live in remote parts of the country.
Aircraft operators or airlines in Papua New Guinea are finding it very difficult for it to be economically viable or profitable for them to be able to fly in and out of those communities. So there are only a few airlines, mainly mission organisation airlines, and a few commercial ones that are providing those levels of services, and not necessarily all across the country.
According to Mr. Bromley, there are only about 300 rural airstrips functioning in some of the most isolated regions in the country. Most of them are accessed by third-level airline companies operated by church-based organizations. These organizations are filling up the void that the government haven't been attending to.
We have to be able to address the provision of air services as in conjunction with restoring and maintaining airstrips in order to provide the service to the communities and meet their expectations.
Most rural air services only rely on subsidies from local members of parliament to support their operations, but the success of these operations hinges on how the provincial budget is being shared amongst its priority areas in each provinces. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Over 100 cows were shipped into Maprik in the East Sepik as investment for the district's cattle project. The cows were brought in from Arab Farm in Morbe province after spending 3 years there. The initiative is a new concept the Maprik district administration has engaged in to revive the agriculture and livestock industry in East Sepik.
The shipment of these cattle comes at a time when East and West Sepik provinces are facing a shortage in livestock. Ralph Yamb, the Momase Regional Livestock Advisor, who is based in Arab, explained that the cows were brought in to support local cattle farmers in the province.
2014, he bought 105 animals from Trukai Industries in Leh, and he couldn't ship it because of the logistics and the difficulties faced then. So he decided that they put those animals at Arab.
It took almost a week for these cattle to travel up the Sepik River before reaching Pagui waterfront. The cows came loaded on 4 semi-trailers on a 16-meter long and 13.5 meter wide shipping vessel.
Actually, I was really confused because we're coming to the river and Maprik is a bit inland.
Livestock farming is not a new concept in East Sepik. Prior to independence, Maprik used to supply beef to other districts in the province. However, after the cows contracted TB, the Australian soldiers were forced to gun down the entire livestock before burning them.
I say thank you to everyone that has made this possible and everyone that has contributed one way or the other to see the first shipment of cattle into Maprik district and into the Central Sepik. We've got 400 cattle coming in, we've got 100 pigs coming in, and I am excited.
These cows were driven from Pagui in the Wasaragawi district to Maprik town and later to the Quimbung cattle farm. After 1 week of traveling up the Sepik River, the cows are here in Quimbu village. The whole idea of bringing in the cows is to revive that cattle industry here in the East Sepik province. This is the first lot of cattle to be brought in. There will be 2 more shipments of cows and pigs. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The Coffee Industry Corporation in Leh reports that coffee yields have increased in parts of Morobe province. PNG exports around 1 million bags of coffee annually, but for this year, despite a slow start to the season, exports could exceed 1 million bags. While this has been positive news, CIC Senior Quality Controller Rose Romalus says they are now working to ensure quality of the beans.
Coffee-growing parts in Morobe like Boana, Menyamia, Bulolo and Kabum are all producing high yields after last year's drought. Leh's CIC office has issued instructions to farmers to give time before new bags are brought down to Leh because storage facilities and mills are crowded. The office has been actively doing its part to ensure quality of export beans going overseas.
This year after the drought has been an increase in terms of production, and it's been also a good yield after the drought.
Senior Quality Control Officer Rose Romalu says with the increased number of coffee bags coming in, storage will have to be managed to ensure there is no moisture in the coffee beans. Moisture ruins the bean quality.
Our greatest concern, especially for the coffees, are staying too long before processing, because the higher the moisture levels in the beans and the more they stay longer in the bags, definitely there'll be some quality issues.
In 2011, the number of coffee bags exported exceeded 1 million. This year, it's likely to happen again, according to statistics. But Leh's CIC office needs to be maintained and a new coffee mill needs to be built for the Morobe people by the Morobe provincial government. A proposal has already been given by CIC to the provincial government. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.3155 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3080 $0.4048 Australian dollars, $0.2721 euro and 31.02 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee and copper closed higher, while gold and cocoa closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 53 points lower, the ASX is trading at 26 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 24 points lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Preserving traditional knowledge is important for scientific studies. An ongoing research by the PNG Institute of Biological Research based in Goroka shows that a lot of important scientific data are contained within traditional knowledge. Unfortunately, these are being lost because of the loss of traditional systems of transferring knowledge.
Enoch Kale, the acting director of PNG IBR, says they are currently supporting a couple of studies on cultural biodiversity, and the data they have collected so far is showing results that more needs to happen to protect traditional knowledge.
More than 30 years ago, we've lost a lot of traditional knowledge. In the highlands, you have knowledge passed on to generations. In the houseman, and that's around the time where people started losing their houseman. So they're not talking about the environment, they're not teaching this to the children.
The preservation of traditional knowledge is tied to conservation of PNG's wildlife and natural environment. While some communities have been successful in protecting their natural environment, others are falling under the development pressure to destroy this natural environment. Kale says a role that PNG IBR plays is to tie cultural values with their scientific studies.
Because most of the time when we talk about species, species is a scientific concept. When we talk about ecosystem, ecosystem is a scientific concept. And how can the landowners buy into conservation when you come from scientific perspective? So
the biocultural research is continuing and results will be released once they are finalized. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Lae Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi says police have caught the fourth suspect involved in the killing of Dr. Alfonse Rongap at the Back Road area 2 months ago. Police believed he is the main suspect who pulled the trigger and killed the doctor. Wagambi says the capture of the suspect follows a combined operation between police and CS officers to Finschhafen on the Saturday following a tip-off.
Police say Gatsumera was trying to escape at his house when he was shot on his left leg. He was taken to Brown Health Center where his leg was amputated. Police also found 5 rounds of ammunition.
50 caliber, probably from World War II or something, but this ammunition will be moved in used in the commission of crimes.
At about 3:30 p.m. today, Lae police were on standby at Lae's Yacht Club and picked him up. He was taken to the Engau General Hospital for medical treatment. Lae Metropolitan Superintendent Anthony Wagambi says Mira is one of the main suspects involved in the killing of Dr. Alfonse Rongap 2 months ago at Lae's Back Road area. 2 months ago, a senior doctor serving as a pediatrician at the Engau General Hospital was driving along the Back Road area when he was shot. The doctor was rushed to the Engau General Hospital but was pronounced dead upon arrival. Police have already apprehended the other 3 suspects. He is the 4th suspect. The Lae Metropolitan Commander says the suspect has been on the run for a number of criminal activities committed in the city and is also wanted by police since he escaped from Buimo in 2014.
He has been causing a lot of havoc in the city over the last couple of years.
Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Lae.
Amstrad School Challenge is a program aimed at promoting literacy, self-expression and improving vocabulary skills for young Papua New Guineans in schools throughout the country. The program was initiated today at the Gateway Hotel by Amstrad Holdings Limited Director Vani Nades.
The debating part of the program began today at the Gateway Hotel with Marinville Secondary School on the affirmative side, challenging Koyari Park Adventist School on the topic the PNG government should spend more on primary and secondary schools for free and quality education. The program, spearheaded by Vani Nades, will see 3 secondary and 1 high school compete over the course of 3 days on debating topics on development issues currently faced by Papua New Guineans. Initially, Mstret School Challenge secured the interest of a good number of schools. However, due to the fact that the competition dates fall in line with the secondary school's examination dates, the turnout has dropped significantly. The winning team will represent Papua New Guinea at the Melanesian Championships to be staged in Honiara, Solomon Islands. Apart from the debating program, primary schools will not miss out, as there is also a Spelling Bee program for the younger ones who will challenge each other to claim the Spelling Bee Champions title. Overall, the program comprises of debating challenges, spelling tests and a poetry slam to see creativity among the youngsters competing in the program. A notable presence was Dagia Aka, a former Jubilee Secondary School student and speaker. Dagia spoke on public speaking confidence and his debating experience, which in his years was known as the IBS Inter-School Debates. Apart from being an invaluable member of the Jubilee Secondary School debate team, who were national champions in 2012 after defeating Sir Tay Abal Secondary School from Enga, Dagia took out the Best Male Speaker award.
From your experiences, because it's only when you open yourself up to those possibilities, and it's only when you start to look into these things that you understand how important the voice of the young people are. I travel around the world and I'm just 20 and I go representing young people because I believe so much in what they can do. And I have no doubt that each and every one of you have that capability as well.
Lorraine Gabina, National EMTV News.
Teachers who will be implementing the standards-based curriculum in elementary schools have raised concerns on the unavailability of teaching materials. They also said the 1 week allocated for their training was insufficient. The concerns were raised after the training ended last week.
Elementary teachers from some districts in Morobe have raised concerns over the time frame of training conducted and the unavailability of teaching materials. These teachers, who will be implementing the standards-based curriculum, said the content of SBC is appealing. However, a week of training is insufficient.
After from the workshop, we didn't get the materials, so we're still teaching the OB.
The Assistant Secretary for Curriculum Development Division, Stephen Tandale, officially closed the standards-based curriculum training last week at Nawai District. Tandale said distribution of SBC teaching materials will commence in mid-September this year, with a full implementation of the curriculum by next year, 2017.
They will get to used to know how they can plan their lessons and prepare themselves. So when it comes to 2017, there's a full implementation of standard-based curriculum for elementary.
The SBC teaching materials include syllables and teacher's guide for the 4 subjects: maths, English, language, and community and culture. 16,000 copies will be distributed to all elementary teachers, while 500 copies to be delivered to teachers' colleges to help conduct teacher trainings. A network is already established with the National Department of Education and provincial inspectors to help monitor the implementation of SBC in elementary schools.
Keith Tangui, the Provincial Senior Inspector for Elementary and Primary Schools, said inspectors will be allocated to each elementary school to monitor implementation.
We're going to make sure that the standard-based curriculum is implemented. We're going to supervise the teachers. We're going to go into the field and check how they're progressing.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
And overseas, in the United States, the skies are about to get more crowded with drones. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration's new rules for the commercial use of drones go into effect this week, making it easier to become a drone pilot.
I've always dreamed of being a pilot.
And so how did you go from flying real planes to also flying drones? Obviously you didn't dream of that when you were a kid.
Well, kind of. As a kid, my dad bought me my first RC airplane, crashed in the first 30 seconds, and it was 30 seconds of flying and 2 hours of repair every time.
As you can probably tell, this footage wasn't shot from the ground. Drone footage is a hot commodity, and for a while, that meant new opportunities.
You have a job that didn't even exist a few years ago, though.
That's true. I kind of invented it.
The rise of drones has really created new pathways for people like you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my background is in TV and film production, so picking up a drone was sort of a natural adjunct to what I was doing already. But once I saw the possibilities and the capabilities of what drones were all about, I kind of did a little pivot and really focused my energy now on the drone industry.
Until today, becoming certified to fly drones commercially wasn't easy. You needed a pilot's license, the same one you need to fly a real airplane, and a special exemption from the government. It took almost a year and was quite a big investment.
$20,000 at a minimum, absolute minimum.
So it's just cheaper to hire you?
Yes.
But that's all changing under new FAA regulations.
FAA Part 107 just came out, so there's going to be tens of thousands of people who are going to be legal to fly. So, you know, I think the heyday of charging, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a day is gone, except for the maybe major motion picture industry where they're requiring custom things that you can't buy off the shelf.
But Cohen believes there's still plenty of money to be made flying drones.
I think that it's really important for people to understand that this is a tool. You're kind of democratizing the skies. So the people who are doing the best cinematography, they were cinematographers already. This is just a tool. So those people are going to continue to make good money doing it. I think that the people who latch on to the survey service, the mapping services, things like that, those are kind of unplucked fruit, if you will.
They could be cashing in.
They could be cashing in.
Trukai Sports is next, and another home game win for the SP Hunters. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The SP PNG Hunters remain unbeaten at home this season after thrashing the Sunshine Coast Falcons 34 points to 4 yesterday. The Hunters still remain in 4th place and have been granted a home final this weekend before they face the Falcons again.
The Hunters have won all 11 games at home, and this weekend will be the Hunters' first ever home final playoff. They are usually hard to beat at home because of the crowd support and how the people get behind the team.
Double cutout pass, turn back inside to a rampaging Timothy Lomai, and he slams it.
They play Sunshine Coast again after beating them 34 points to 4. This weekend's match will be hard because the Falcons will be looking to level up with the Hunters and also proceed on to the finals. The Redcliffe Dolphins claim the Interest Super Cup minor premiership after embarrassing the Tweedhead Seagulls 74 points to 6, while second-placed Burleigh Bears will also have the weekend off after defeating South Logan Magpies 30 points to 18. Third-ranked Townsville Blackhawks will host East Tigers with the Hunters hosting the Falcons. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
PNG's gold medalist and weightlifter Stephen Curry now has big plans for the future as he gets himself back into training. Curry is now determined to continue his training in the lead-up to the 2018 Commonwealth Games, Pacific Games 2019 and the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Godwin Eki reports.
Despite not attending the 2016 Olympic Games this year, 23-year-old Stephen Curry from Hanwabata village is determined to get past the unpleasant experience and get back into training mode. Stephen, who was disappointed for not making it to Rio, has now set his sights on the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Australia, where he aims to defend his title. He started his training last month, surrounded by family members.
Well, they said forget about everything and move on, no training. That's the most important thing. They don't want me to finish from weightlifting, that's why. They want me to continue from weightlifting. Their support is non-stop, they're still going on. But they say, don't waste your time in those things, just go and train. Just give us goal, that's all. That's my mom and dad, they used to support me and my uncle. And not only my uncle, not only my family, my neighbors, my cousins, including Hanobara too. They used to say, well, Rio is gone now. You have to move on. 2018 is coming for the next Commonwealth, you have to defend your title. And I said, yeah, I'm not finished yet. I'm still going on. I'm still a young boy. I'm just 23 years old and plus just a number, just a figure.
His father, Towa Curry, said the family will give him all the support, but Stephen only has 2 years to work hard and put himself in a position where he is ready to defend his title.
Stephen coming out in the open for him personally, because weightlifting is an individual sport where you as an individual, you are the one actually going out there and lifting the weight. And the end result is you yourself, and the rest is for the whole nation to come out and see.
Stephen said he will make use of the old facility where he started out in making a name for himself. Gobe, National EMTV Sports.
And to football, while a lot of focus has been on the women for the World Cup, the PNG men's under-20 squad slipped into Port Moresby quietly last week. The youth national team will be travelling to Vanuatu for the OFC Under-20 Championships with 2 World Cup spots on offer.
Head coach Peter Gunemba has said the squad is still gelling and finding their rhythm, but he is pleased with the talent he has.
Oh, the NSL, you don't have all the best players you want to. There are a few best players, and it's some you have to work hard to, make them to be good players, and that's a little bit of difference here. For this one, it's all the best players that you put them together, and it is easier to train them than the NSL one.
5 players within the team have some form of NSL experience. The most experienced member of the squad, Felix Comalong, offering a steady, composed defence for Gunemba's young charges.
Yes, we got experienced players like this. Felix Comalong actually came from the senior men. There's a lot of experience he brought in with us. Peter Dabiniaba and Yagan Nalu. Also, what's his name? Jonah Ihe also plays for Wildgrease.
Other recognisable players include FC Rapatona's goalkeeper Edward Lakai and midfielder Yagan Nalu, as well as FC Port Moresby's Alu Awi. With PNG striker Nigel Dabinyaba's younger brother Peter also a part of the team. Senior national coach Fleming Siritzlev also on hand, offering words of encouragement to the players. The squad, together for only 5 weeks, had a final friendly match against a select Port Moresby side, winning that game 4-0, but still showing they have more to work on. The team travels to Vanuatu via the Solomon Islands on Tuesday. Jeremy Mogi, National EMTV Sports.
True Kai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome back. President of the Boxing Federation, John Avira, says in consultation with the PNG Sports Foundation, boxing officials for the PNG Games have been selected. He encouraged provinces taking part in the sport to start preparing.
After congratulating Papua New Guinea's first ever Olympic debutant for the Code of Boxing, Thaddeus Katua, President John Avira was very much impressed with his performance, saying his performance was above expectations. While speaking with EMTV Sports, he added, saying PNG Boxing Federation has been working alongside PNG Sports Foundation in organizing the officials who will be on the grounds in Kimbe to officiate the boxing competitions. With the agreement now cemented between PNG Boxing Federation and PNG Sports Foundation, Mr. Avira has encouraged boxing associations around the country to start preparing, as all participating provinces will be coming strong with their athletes after the success of the code in the last PNG Games.
We coordinate the PNG Games through PNG Sports Foundation. We're supporting them, we're running the competition. From my tournament director, the organizing committee has been on track on the arrangement. However, the elite boxers won't take part in PNG Games. We will be looking at the novice boxers from the provinces. It's one big opportunity. We use, as a national federation, we used to identify talent.
He described PNG Games as a talent identification tournament in any sport, saying champions who are now representing Papua New Guinea both internationally and in the region have all come from the PNG Games. He said PNG Games provides an avenue for athletes to showcase their talents.
If you go back and look at Thaddeus, we actually found him in 2012 in East New Britain PNG Games. And the rest is history now. So we're looking at those type of young boxers, both male and female, and PNG Games in Kimbe won't be different. So that is our objective in that, of course, in partnership with PNG Sports Foundation and PNG NOC.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
With a day away from the arrival of cricket legends for the Bash, Hebo Baramandi's head coach Jack Vare looks forward to the four-day event as he believes their presence and input in PNG cricket during their short stay will go a long way in encouraging participation and interest in the sport. The four legends, Jeff Lawson, Jeffrey Marsh, Lisa Stalker and Chris Martin, will arrive in the country on Wednesday afternoon.
Vara is positive the prestigious event will give the extra push PNG cricketers need to take the code to another level. Vara said PNG cricket has grown, especially now that the national men's and women's teams have played many international matches, and the Legends' presence in the next 4 days will definitely give local cricketers the extra edge as they will be in the company of some of the best who have been in the international arena. Last year's Big Bash was a successful one with the likes of world's fastest bowler, Catherine Fitzpatrick, and others.
When the Don't Drink and Drive campaign started in 2009 till now, it has done a lot in terms of the game gaining experience or even picking their mind what's to expect in international cricket.
The Laos information and training session with Stalker will be valuable as they are now 5 months away from the World Cup qualifiers.
Ex-players, legends coming over to share their ideas, to share their experience, what they've gone through, their ups and downs. That does help, not only on the field, but off the field as well. How their living style, how they go about their cricket on and off the field.
Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends True Kai Sports. The weather details when we come back.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, a shower or two in Port Moresby, Daru and Alatau, and fine in Kerema and Popodetta. In the Momase region, fine in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo, and a shower or two in Ley. In the islands region, thundery showers in Lorengau, Kavieng, Buka and Kokopo and Ribau, and brief showers in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, fine and expected morning fog in all centers.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Government support crucial to digital transition. Gobe landowners petition government, and De La Salle order celebrates 70 years in PNG. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Helen Seah. Pleasant viewing. Good night.